Welcome to another edition of This Day in Hockey, brought to you by Liam McGuire. Yeah, it's been a little while since we hit the airwaves here on social media, doing a little video here on the home front. A bunch of other things going on, and been waylaid a little bit, doing a bit of this, bit of that. Sadly, a lot of local passings in the last little while, and none of them COVID related, and so we're all kind of reeling a little bit from that type of news that's hit our area in the region of Ottawa-Carleton, the Valley and the Rurals. We've lost some good people in the last little while, and so I was doing some write-ups on those people, and kind of like to let that sit there for a little bit and let as many people as possible get a chance to see the words and maybe offer a comment, because I think I heard from at least one, if not more, family members from just about everybody, and I was happy to do it and for them out of respect, and I'll always try and do that to a certain degree when I can. So that said, here we are. Still no hockey and nothing on the horizon, but there sure has been a lot of dialogue, and it does appear as if there's a very keen interest in having at least the Stanley Cup decided this season, if not some other level of play. I don't think we're going to see the rest of those regular season games, but it does look like there is a huge appetite to have the Stanley Cup awarded for 2020. How that plays out, what it entails, best of 3s, 5s, 16 teams, 20 teams, 24 teams, still just wild speculation on all of that. So I won't get into the game other than just to say this. As a fairly hardcore hockey fan, if that is the decision that's made, it is all but assured that if there is a winner in 2020, there will be an asterisk with it. And whatever we get, we get. You know, you can complain all you want, but if they give us some hockey, I'm going to watch it. I'll watch it. If they say it's got to be 3 best of 3s and a best of 5 to get a Stanley Cup done, and they're doing 24 teams and they're going to start with byes, and so it breaks down evenly, then so be it. Can sit here and complain till the cows come home. It doesn't really matter. The nature of what's evolved right now means you've got a bastardized version of this season regardless. So who really cares what you get for a playoff if it's 16 teams or 24 teams? I thought initially, when none of us figured it would go this long, that they would just scale it back to 68 games, take your top 16 winning percentage, respective of the divisions, and play it out as you typically would. We know now that given the timelines of when anything could potentially start, that having 4 rounds in a best of 7 looks like it just may not be doable. But who really knows? We don't know. So we wait and see. But I will welcome hockey in any format, and because it's immaterial, you're going to get an asterisk. There wasn't one in 2013 when Chicago won, or 1995 when the New Jersey Devils won. We lost a whole year in 2005, as we know. Stanley Cup was not awarded at all in 1919, the last time a global pandemic shut most of, and sadly killed many more in the world. That's 101 years ago. So we're not in that state, in that situation, and but we could very well still potentially not have a Stanley Cup. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let's just fly ahead here with a couple of things, and we'll get out here with a shot, a couple more toasts on some passings. That's what we do here, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But I want to incorporate a little bit of yesterday as well. Today's May the 19th. I really only have one thing to say, and it's about Jarome Iginla. And he scored today on this date, has the Calgary Flames advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in 15 years. And they beat the Sharks in Game 6, and he didn't get the winner in the game, but he did score in the game. And Jarome is a first ballot Hall of Famer this year. He's a lock, and I've done a little bit of chatter in the last 7 days or so about Paul Henderson's chances again. I won't get into that right now tonight, maybe later, but Jarome's a first ballot Hall of Famer, absolute lock. And in 2004, as most of you know, he fought in 3 of the 4 rounds. Jarome Iginla, on top of being everything else he's done statistically and offensively, and Rocket Richard trophies, and World Junior for Canada, and Canadian Olympic, and Iggy, and Crosby on the golden goal, February 28, 2010, 5:59 p.m., and all the rest. He had 73 fights. 73 fights in the NHL. That's what I'm talking about right there, baby. So, including three in the playoffs in 2004. He fought Matthias Ohlund. He had a great scrap with Darian Hatcher. And then he had the fight that everyone talks about still in the finals with Vinny Lecavalier. And it was just great stuff, wasn't it? I mean, what a great series that was. You know, that was a tremendous final in 2004. And Calgary came out on the short end of it. A lot of controversy, as we know, over how that ended. And yesterday's anniversary is an anniversary of another great final between the Montreal Canadiens and Chicago Blackhawks. Jean Beliveau's last game ever, May 18th, 1971. So this is the time of year when a lot of playoff series did come to an end, and the further back you go, the later in the rounds, and so that's why you're getting semifinals in more recent times. And back in the early 70s, late 60s, mid 70s, you got games on these dates that would have obviously culminated with the end of a Stanley Cup final, hence Montreal and Chicago in 71, which was a Tuesday. And I was a student at St. Leonard's Elementary, right here, baby. This school right here. And I remember when Montreal beat Boston in the first round, I bet my dear friend Greg McAvoy 25 cents on that series and won it. And that bought me two packs of hockey cards at Micmac's. I remember it very well. So thank you, Greg, for that quarter. We'll have to have a pint sometime and celebrate that. So just a couple of playoff dates for you. And May 18th. With Beliveau's last game ever, Henri Richard scoring 2 goals in Chicago. Interesting thing about that final in 71, again, which was yesterday's date, is that the home teams won every game until Game 7. And the Habs are down 2-0 in Game 7 and came back from that. So tremendous effort by the Pocket Rocket. Tremendous effort by the Mahovlich brothers. I think personally, without having seen Frank Mahovlich in the late 50s and early 60s, helping Toronto win those cups in 62, 3, and 4. I didn't see Frank then. I didn't know of him as a player then. I was too young. But boy, oh boy, man, he owned the ice in 71. And Ken Dryden won the Conn Smythe Trophy. I think he was probably the right choice. He played 20 games. He allowed 60 goals. You know, it's just had not a debate, but just a sort of bit of a discussion, if you will, online with somebody not that long ago talking about Dryden in that first round against Boston. And he got lit up badly in 2 of those games. But, they got the W's. He got the W's when it counted. It's just like his overall record against the Russians. He didn't lose every game. People say, oh, he played so bad against the Russians. Well, he's got a 500 record against them. So, I guess he did okay in some of the games, specifically Game 672, when he was the first star of the game. But it's convenient. And for people to go down that road on Ken, and it's convenient for people to have an agenda and champion what they think is something that's been passed down through generations. In a lot of cases, people just don't know. They're not reading up on it. They don't know the history. They certainly didn't watch it. Many are too young, and they just don't know. But that said, that was a great series in 71, and that was a great semifinal series for Jarome and the Flames, which ended on this date in 2004, and they went on to the Stanley Cup Finals. The only thing I want to mention, then we're going to do the toast, short one tonight. I want to tie into yesterday as well, and you can pick just about any day in May. Bobby Orr won a trophy during his time as a member of the Boston Bruins, but on yesterday's date is the anniversary of his 6th consecutive Norris Trophy. Now that's significant because he became the first man to win 6 consecutive trophies. Jacques Plante had won 5 Vezina trophies. So Bobby broke that record, if you will. Wayne's gone on from there, as we know. But Bobby went on to 8 himself. But what I was trying to think, and I wanted to do one of these yesterday. I tried to bang it out. Actually, at a remote location didn't work. So here I am back inside my little studio, my whiskey, which I'm going to have here shortly. But I was trying to think, what stat or stats about Bobby that never really been stated, and I thought of something that he won 8 Norris trophies in a row, and in 6 of those he was the leading scorer among defensemen in the NHL. Some may think, he must have been on all 8. No, he wasn't in those first 2 years. In those first 2 years, he was not the leading scorer in defensemen, and then by year 3, he was, and then he of course won 6 more Norrises. So in those 6 years, when Bobby Orr was the leading scorer among defensemen in the NHL, these are the point totals that he finished ahead of the second defenseman in scoring in the NHL, okay? 76 points. 76 points. 44 points. 47 points. 40 points. 59 points. These were over players such as Brad Park twice, Denny Potvin, Guy Lapointe, J.C. Tremblay, and Jim McKenney and Carol Vadnais in that first year in 69-70. I mean, these are not slouches. These are Hall of Famers, some of these guys. And this isn't a case of Boston being the late 70s Habs or we're winning the Cups all this time. I mean, Bobby is always lumped in the discussion, as he should be, as the greatest or one of the greatest of all time. I always answer it this way. Gordie Howe is the greatest player in NHL history, combining longevity, durability, and excellence. Wayne Gretzky is the greatest offensive force in the history of sports, really. Definitely hockey. No equal. Absolutely none. Mario was there. Wayne was there. Bobby Orr is the greatest to me to ever wear skates. And what gets lost sometimes in the discussion, more so as every year goes by and people get a little older and they just don't know, or the next generation comes along, didn't see him play, is forget sometimes he was a defenseman. He led the league in scoring as a defenseman, and he was routinely at or near the top in plus minus. I mean, he not only was the best defenseman by a mile, but he was better offensively than most of the forwards that were in the NHL at that time. And additionally, he could fight. He had 55 fights. He hit everything that moved. He took incredible pride defensively. He owned the puck offensively. Nothing had been seen in the sports world like him when he came along. And I think that stat, as highlighting it as I did over those other 6 men, 7, because as I said, McKenney and Vadnais were tied at 44 points, I believe, in 69-70 when Bobby won his first Art Ross trophy. There's no comparison. Wayne's numbers are in the same realm, beating the second place person in scoring in his best 6-year run in the 80s. But Bobby Orr was a defenseman. He played defense, unlike anybody before him and unlike anybody since. Don't give me Paul Coffey. Don't go down that road. Paul was fantastic. I talked about him the last video that I did. It was on the 87 Canada Cup. And watching it all again and seeing how dominant Paul was really, really something else to see. It really was. But folks, neither him or Nick Lidstrom or Denny Potvin or Larry Robinson or Brian Leetch or Chris Chelios or Chris Pronger or anybody was in the same area code as Robert Gordon Orr. Not even close. And on yesterday's anniversary in 1973, he picked up his 6th consecutive Norris Trophy with still 2 more to go. And man, oh man, if he hadn't have got hurt, people talk about all the time about players if they had have stayed healthy for injuries. And I know there's so many you could say. There's nobody in the same snack bracket as Bobby Orr. Couple of toasts today, and that's a big one, I tell you. My good friend in Edmonton, Uni Niminen, sent me we've been exchanging some emails recently. He's been doing some writing on some players from days gone by, and we were conversing about Terry O'Reilly in emails. And he mentioned that, now I don't know, Uni, if Teppo was a friend of yours. I'm assuming he was, but Teppo Virta, and I won't say Teppo too many times because that's not the name he typically went by, and there's a reason why I'm mentioning Terry O'Reilly here. But Teppo Virta passed away a couple of days ago, family by his side, as I understand it, in Finland. He was 57 years of age. He was a member, he played in the World Juniors, according to Uni, 1982. I did not remember that. I believe it was 81 or 82. And actually was drafted in the NHL by the New York Islanders in 1981. So certainly a player of some renown. And if I'm not mistaken, he played 4 or 5 years of pro, I think, in Finland for the TPS program, arguably as famous a program as there is. And his favorite player was Terry O'Reilly. He loved Terry O'Reilly. So he never wanted to be called Teppo. Everybody, apparently, according to Uni, called him Terry. I just think that's fantastic. And I hope somehow, some way, if I can't do it, someone else can, get the word to Terry about this at some point in time. I do know Terry a little bit. I have done gigs with him. if I get a chance to do a gig with him, I will let him know this. But I'll tell you right now, for the memory of Terry Virta, we will be doing a toast here in just a second. And of course, the main one today is for Jenn Casey, Captain Jennifer Casey of the Snowbirds program, who was a passenger, enlisted in the Canadian military in 2014, came right in and did a number of different things. You know what's funny? I looked at her picture. It kind of looked familiar. She had her hair done up, but then there was other pictures with her hair down, and then I started reading about her, and she'd done a lot of media. She did a lot of radio, and apparently I think she was at university here in Ottawa, and I know she was in Belleville. I saw that my dear friend Sean Kelly hired her in Belleville to work in the industry for a while. Apparently she was a big Montreal Canadian fan. Just a tragedy of epic proportions. Operation Inspiration, I think it's called, in the Snowbirds. They were just here. They were just here in Ottawa. There's all sorts of video of them. You could hear them, see them fly over so many parts of our great city in the area here. And what a colossal, terrible tragedy for her family and friends. God rest her soul, and thank you for your service. And the unbelievable thing, you want to hear about how small the world it is. I had quite a few conversations today with Goldie Goldthorpe, who, as you all know, I wrote the book on. And the pilot, I think he's a captain as well, McDougall, of that fateful plane. Goldie played against his father in senior hockey. Played against him. They actually had an altercation on the ice and became fast friends right after that. How small the world is that? Goldie and I exchanged that story today. He was emotional telling it. And, he takes a lot of that stuff to heart, and as we all do. It's just a terrible tragedy. So for Terry Virta, thank you, Uni, for putting up his name. And for Captain Jennifer Casey, thank you so much for your service, for this country, for everything you did, for the Snowbird program, and before, to your family and friends. May God rest both your souls. G'day.